As we go through this election morning, because we're in the AM hour, still with us is former SEC Commissioner Jay Clayton, MCC Production CEO Michelle Caruso Cabrera, Jefferies Chief Market Strategist David Zurzos. And joining the conversation is Yale School of Management Senior Associate Dean Jeff Sonnenfeld. It's great to have you all here today. Jeff, because you're the new voice at the table, give me a sense of where we are right now and what this, I mean, you wrote an incredible op-ed with a lot of former CEOs, and then what we're seeing seems to indicate there's a lot of fervor and passion for the former president.
You're absolutely right. There is a gap there. We haven't had a Republican candidate for the presidency that's ever had so little support from the leaders of the major corporations in the country. Usually half of every, about half of the major CEOs in the country have supported the GOP candidate going back a century. Whether or not we're looking at Taft or Reagan or Nixon or John McCain or
Jeff, do you think that's because they don't support the Donald Trump policies? Because that's not really what I've been hearing, or because they have sensitivities either with their employees or their customers about being political and the divisions we've had in this country?
I tell you, Jay, it has not anything whatsoever to do with being woke. And there's an implication for what they do now going forward because of what does bother them. That's true that they are not xenophobic. And I think the very magnanimous words we heard from Donald Trump moments ago, former President Trump, are encouraging that maybe he'll move to the center. I thought he would have done that in 2016. I've known Donald Trump for several decades, and I was surprised he took the dark turn that he did before, and maybe he'll capture that middle ground now. But they're not xenophobic. Half of the Fortune 500, Jay, half of them are led either by immigrants or first generation of tech companies that are worth over $1 billion in valuation. A third of them are created by immigrants. They're creating tens of millions of jobs. So to be calling them vermin and everything else and poisoning the bloodstream of the country.
But he did. Yeah, he definitely did not do that in his speech tonight.
No.
Tonight he was very clear that he plans to unite the country and forget about the grievances of the past 4 years. He said that very clearly.
I think that's great and that's right. So maybe that's encouraging.
I think an anchor of a Donald Trump economic plan will be smart immigration for exactly the reason
it should be. It should be. What we had to do is, I'll let you in on a secret. In 2019, we couldn't get around Stephen Miller. Just to give you a little secret, I had to go to Jared Kushner with the Business Roundtable. I'm tempted to even name names of who the commission was, the Business Roundtable, to try to stop the block on the H-1B visa program for high-end talent, not to mention who our construction workers are and who our agriculture workers are.
Let's all agree that if we're educating someone in this country, getting a graduate degree in the STEM area or something like that, that we ought to be able to retain them.
We should. That wasn't where Stephen Miller is and was. And I think if we can work around that, Jay, that would make a big difference. There were some in the administration who helped resolve that, but it was very difficult brinksmanship. Secondly, they are not protectionist and they're not isolationist. That's going to matter a lot. If we see President Putin swarm in further into Ukraine, putting in peril the rest of Eastern and Central Europe, NATO countries, and triggers a war, that's a world war, that's going to be pretty bad. So we have a problem with the isolationism.
I do know from dealing with corporations that most everybody is free trade, except when they look at their market and they realize that you need reciprocal trade in your own market.
And we need some, but it's just
all right,
what he says.
I'm going to interrupt right here.